Hi, everybody. Welcome to CSS Studios. My name is Bryan Richardson. I'm going to be playing a couple of songs for you. The first one is an older one from my album release last year called Heartbreak Road, and the name of this song is This Smile, and it goes something like this. Living like you're the only one on the planet. Don't knock it till you tried it. It has its advantages. You get a nice, neat little heart for starters. Nobody breaks it open, only one catch. Nobody knows what's inside. This smile is getting harder to wear. It's wearing me, and it's wearing me out. This heart is getting too heavy to bear all alone. I need to find somewhere to bear my soul. It's possible to give a firm handshake and still be losing your grip. Nobody would believe it, would they? But what if somebody saw through to you and they knew the truth? Tell me, what would you say? Would you run away? This smile is getting harder to wear. It's wearing me, and it's wearing me out. This heart is getting too heavy to bear all alone. I need to find somewhere to bear my soul. Wearing me out. This heart is getting too heavy to bear all alone. I need to find somewhere to bear my soul. This smile is getting harder to wear. It's wearing me, and it's wearing me out. This heart is getting too heavy to bear all alone. I need to find somewhere to bear my soul. It's getting hard to wear my soul. I need to find someone to share my soul. That's This Smile. Available wherever fine records are sold. Okay, this song is going to be. Do we have a? Is there a phone call coming in? Okay, people are already starting to call in. All right, let's see what the tote board says. How much money we've raised. Anyway, we will be listening to a new song now called Starlight, and this is off of a project that will be forthcoming sometime in the next decade. It just depends on how the fundraising for the new album goes. Okay. Anyway, here's how this goes. I hope I remember all the words, but you never know. Okay, here we go. You walk in and the room gets brighter. Yeah, life of the party. Even though you swear you're not invited, actually actually the one who got it started. But you've already decided this part of your life remains unguarded. Anyway, I thought I heard that you were sighted. Hilarious as always, but guarded. Hilarious as always, but guarded. Starlight is alright, shining down at midnight or later. This is your connection to direction on questions that the light of day will never let you ask. Here come the quiet you've been sighing for so long, arriving on the shyness of the night. The daily rush dilutes the wonder. Life has departed with the mystery that called when you were younger. You need somewhere to run to, somewhere that guards the miracle you started. Anyway, I heard that you were sighted. Hilarious as always, but guarded. Hilarious as always, but guarded. Starlight is alright, shining down at midnight or later. This is your connection to direction on questions that the light of day will never let you ask. Here come the quiet you've been sighing for so long, arriving on the shyness of the night. Ooh, hey, oh. Ooh, Starlight is alright, shining down at midnight or later. This is your connection to direction on questions that the light of day will never let you ask. Here come the quiet you've been sighing for so long, arriving on the shyness of the night.
Don't have an ending yet, but that's basically it. Those are two songs, one old, one new, and I was happy to do these for you today. So thanks to CSS Studios.
Hello, and welcome back to CSS Studios, StudioCast. Today we have the one and only Bryan Richardson, recording artist, preacher, may I say TV star?
A man of many talents.
Yeah.
You may say that, but...
Bryan, you want to give yourself a little introduction here?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be on your podcast. I really am, and
Thank you.
I am a preacher by trade, and I do this music as an avocation, and it's just been transformational for me. I love it, and I'm just getting more and more into it. And largely, it is due to a lot of inspiration from y'all. So
thank you.
Appreciate it.
If you guys think that his music is good, you should see him at the altar, man.
Come on down and pack a pew.
Yeah, for real. We actually, that's how Jeremy and I. Oh, Jeremy's here too. Hey, Jeremy.
Jeremy. How you doing?
We know Bryan because Jeremy and I both work at First Baptist Church San Antonio, and Bryan's worked here for
11 years.
11 years, way
years.
before we started working here. We've been here for, 3 years now?
I forgot.
A little over 3 years. But
I'm one of the old timers.
one of the old timers around here. So we had Taylor Pfeiffer on a few episodes ago.
I know him.
Yeah, he actually brought you up in the podcast.
He did?
Yeah, did you listen to it? No.
No, I didn't.
But I didn't know that you were brought up in it though. Yeah, he talked about you a little bit, and we didn't. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, Bryan. We didn't know what you do here. We're just,
Are you? Taylor didn't know.
Well,
He didn't say.
no. Taylor knew, but
Oh,
Jeremy
okay.
and I didn't. He had to explain.
Okay.
But just for anyone who hasn't seen the episode, you want to give yourself a little bit. Tell them what you do at the church here.
I'm one of the associate pastors here, and my spheres of responsibility are single adults and also pastoral ministries, which means in addition to visiting people in the hospital, which if you've ever been in the hospital, it's pretty important to have that kind of encouragement. But I also do counseling for people that need guidance, spiritual guidance. So
that's pretty cool. You have quite a range of duties and talents.
We have fun around here.
You kind of got into that's your main gig is the preaching thing and everything, and then music.
It's what I'm trained to do.
Yeah. So. Did you go to school for that?
I did.
Go to? Is it okay? So Jeremy and I are both Catholic, so we're still kind of new to this. Do they have like Baptist college?
They do.
It's
called any training, even whether it's Catholic or any church tradition, will have what they call seminaries.
Oh, okay. So it's still seminary school.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is, and
cool,
it's equivalent to a master's level education or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was trained in a Baptist seminary.
Oh, awesome.
So I don't want this to sound like a dumb question, but
there are no dumb questions, Jeremy.
Was it kind of like you're in college and then you decide, okay, I want to major in being a pastor, or I want to major in being a priest?
Yeah.
Or and then or something like that.
There is some of that there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a vocation, like any other really in that regard. But I was always raised in church, and I've always been curious about God and how and I believe that there is I believe that Jesus Christ is the one who is best able to teach us how to live and teach us who God is, and we have to live with one another in this world, and I believe that Christ shows us how to live with one another in love. And so I grew up in that kind of setting, and just raised in church and singing hymns and all that. In fact, that's formed a lot of my musical vision is just songs of faith and so forth. And a lot of those songs of faith, and I'm not talking about like rock and roll church or anything. I'm just talking about old hymns. A lot of them deal with real dark themes. Really dark themes. And I think that any honest song deals with that. But for me, those informed my view of the world and view of life. And then when I was in college, Baylor University, give a little shout out to that. I was going to go into some kind of broadcasting. That's what I had wanted to do. Cool. Broadcast journalism or something like that. But then my junior year, I felt just a spiritual wrestling, and the best way I knew how to resolve that was to go into church work. And I became very curious about how to help people and how to know God more. And I thought that was the best way to do that. Some people call that a calling. They use that language, and I think that's good. That's good language for that. That's how the calling came to me, was that wrestling, just in my spirit. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to shift my major. Well, what I shifted it to was communication, because I thought,
okay.
well, that'll be. I had a lot of those kinds of courses anyway, and it kept me from being in school forever. Changing it to religion or something like that. So I just majored in speech communication and rhetorical theory and all that. And so then I went to seminary at a particular seminary in Fort Worth, Texas, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. And I've pastored various churches. I was a youth minister, I was a pastor, I was a music minister, all that. And just it's how we do things in Baptist churches. And then in Texas and Kansas. And then in 2007, I came here to First Baptist Church in that job description that I described a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. And your music career has, I guess, got a little bit of a later start in life. And you're recording, I guess you'd be considered a recording artist right now, right?
Well, that's a kind of a glamorous name, I guess, a recording artist. But yeah, I mean, I have an album out, and it was professionally recorded, and the songs are mine, and I played and sang on that album.
And that album that came out last year, that was Heartbreak Road.
That's right.
And that you had a particularly long time working on that record, right?
I did. Yeah, that's true. I tend to forget. I don't know how in the world I forget that, but that album, and let me just say, I have sung all of my life, and I've even written songs for years. And when I was a little kid, when I was 9 years old, I remember writing a song and it was a very religious song, and it was called Roy's Store. And I was at my grandparents' one summer, staying for a week or so, and they had this back porch, the screened-in porch, and whenever they would take naps in the afternoon, they would take their naps, and I would go out there on that screened-in porch. It was a hot summer day, all those hot summer days, and I grabbed a squash, a yellow squash, and I used it as a microphone, and I would pretend to sing in front of audiences, and so it was one of those squash recording sessions that I wrote this song called Roy's Store, and I probably need to learn how to play it, but it was about a proprietor of a general store. I just had this in my mind. I was 9 years old, and who was a very devout church-going man, and he would tell people about the Lord when they would come into his store with problems. He was, I imagined, kind of a community pastor, sort of a wise general store proprietor, and he would help people with their problems and tell them about God and all that. And it kind of went like this: "Come on down to Roy's store and hear the greatest story ever told." And the backing vocals were, "Praise the Lord about God and Jesus his son." Whoa,
that's not bad.
There was more to it, but I can't recall the whole song.
You should totally record that. That sounds awesome.
Kind of a country flair, a folk country flair. I don't know.
You could tailor on it then.
Yeah, exactly. Americana. That's what it is. It's Americana. And
cool,
so,
though.
Anyway, back to your question about the length of recording time or production time on this album. When I was in Kansas, our church did a recording project with the church musicians, and as I was the pastor of that church, and I was involved with that project a little bit. I lent a song that I had written to that recording project.
Were you on the album, or did you just write the song?
Backing vocals.
Oh, cool.
Which is my favorite thing to do.
Oh, okay.
By the way, but
what was the record? Do you know?
The record was it was called something about grace. Grace Alone.
Is it on iTunes?
I don't know. It's not on iTunes. It's not. It was just a local kind of deal.
Okay.
We didn't. We did it at the studio, but we didn't go into all that. This was in 2003 that we did this recording. And in 2003, when we started in the summer of 2003, I met this producer that whose studio we were contracted with, and he and I really started a friendship. We really hit it off, and I'd written a song for this giving to this, pitching to this album.
Yeah.
And he and I got to talking about songwriting, and he said, you ought to, look into this more, and we ought to write some songs together, and whatever. And so I really thought, I could write some more songs maybe. And so I did, and we recorded a few of those really early demos in the studio. And we recorded, we started in sometime in, we recorded something really early in the late 03, and then we started in earnest in 04 with some more demos. And then I moved in 05 back to Texas. And there was something about, 600 miles that really put the damper on that. And so I would go up there occasionally and work on some more songs and, write some more and all that. But it took 14 years until this album became a reality. So finally, last year, as a matter of fact, I didn't even know when it was going to get done. And he called me in November or December of 2016, and he said, let's get this done. The 25th anniversary of the label that he owns, is coming up, and I want to get this done.
So are you on that label then?
I am. Crimson Heart Records is the label.
I remember I saw that on the physical copy of the album. I thought, is he on that label?
Oh yeah, that's cool. The label, and the studio is Cornerstone Studios in Wichita, Kansas. Steve Falke is the producer, and also the owner of the label, and the owner of Cornerstone.
I talked to him on the phone because I did.
That's right. You helped
a little
this
bit,
album
barely
come to fruition. It was huge. It was huge. It was like a couple of words that needed changing in the lyrics.
Yeah, it was just some vocal
fixes,
things.
Yeah. And that was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I
talked to your engineer, and he seemed like a really cool guy. He was like similar to me, where he's just like a huge nerd about audio gear.
He's capital N nerd. Yeah. I mean, and I'm very thankful for that because, he's just helped guide this whole thing.
Yeah, I think that helped having an engineer like that on the record too, and not somebody that's, like some people today is like, well, just plug it into a preamp straight into the computer and just,
Right. This was not a homemade.
Oh yeah, no, not it by any means. And if you hear the record, you can definitely tell for sure.
Right. There's a good deal of headroom on that, and and it's just he produced, engineered, and mastered this album. So it was recording, producing, engineering, and mastering. It was.
Did you play all the instruments on that?
No. I played piano on most tracks, not all. I think there were 14 songs on the album, and I think 4 tracks I didn't play piano on. My chops just have not been up to that par.
Did you write the parts though?
I wrote all the songs.
Okay.
And I basically arranged all the songs as well.
Okay.
Although some of the arrangement was helped by Steve. He arranged some of the background vocals, and we brought in studio musicians over the years.
Cool,
really good ones. There's a thriving arts community in Wichita.
Really,
recording and playing live and all that kind of stuff. And so these guys were great.
Awesome.
They were really, really good.
Nice. Yeah, I thought the record came out really, really well, and it was. I liked that it was, because it wasn't per se like a worship record or anything.
No,
like
not
that.
at all. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know what it is, but I have a built-in resistance to writing, message music. This is the message. I don't want to be too on the nose about anything because I don't think that's how life goes. I mean, I don't think that's how people's brains work. If you could look into your brain, right now, it wouldn't even make sense to most people because you shift. They call it stream of consciousness. You're thinking, oh, it's a sunny day. Oh, I forgot my my computer. Oh, and you just it's breakneck speed,
going back and forth,
and it's and so I think songs that are too cut and dried kind of are artificial, or a little too artificial.
Yeah. I think that's something. That's what I was gonna say, because this record, it definitely had religious or worship elements to it.
Yeah, there's
for
some
sure.
gospel songs on there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But it wasn't like they were good. I mean,
well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
I mean, I don't want to be this guy, especially since we're doing this podcast in a church right now, but I don't like worship music. I mean, hymns are good and stuff, but like, I don't know, just something about worship music is just so cut and dry, and I can't get into it.
If I can be completely honest right now, I would say that's my thought exactly.
Really?
That is exactly my thought. I think that the human spirit needs more nuance because human beings are slow. They you can't just dump a whole bunch of stuff on it and say, here it is.
Yeah.
It's real slow, and you have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about the older hymns is that they try, not all of them, but many of them take a more honest look at life, and they say there's brokenness, there's darkness. The Lord can help, but there's going to be things in you that resist that.
Yeah.
And so I think that like there was a hymn. In fact, I referred to it the other day. We were as a staff kind of singing a hymn together, and one of the lines in there is I'm prone to wander, Lord. I feel it. I feel that. And basically it's just saying I'm a broken person and I screw up a lot. And it doesn't really say, and now at the end of the song, everything is resolved. It just says, I need your help. And that's all. And I think a lot of, so-called worship music today, it just says, it over-promises a lot of stuff. Or it says, I'm relying completely on you. I'm not going to, I'm not afraid of anything. Well, I don't think that's honest.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm afraid of a lot of things, quite frankly.
Yeah, of course.
And I have a lot of anxiety. And I want to rely on the Lord, but I'm going to do that very imperfectly. And I love the imperfection in more honest music. That's what I attempt to write. I don't do it well, and I fail a lot. But I want to write songs that are honest instead of just here's a message that you've got to believe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I for one, like I said, I liked it, and especially there was. I don't remember what the name of the track was, but I remember the day I got your record, I listened to it on the way home, and I called you and told you that I liked this particular song.
I remember that song, Speak to Me,
Lord.
Yeah.
And I thought it was reminiscent of the Red-Headed Stranger record, and then you said that's what you were going for, actually. So
that's exactly what I was going for, is the Willie Nelson vibe there that was just, again, it's a man who's just broken. He's at the end of his rope, and he's saying, I need a word from you, and I hope I find it in the Bible, but I got to have some help here.
Yeah.
And, that's basically the song.
Yeah. And I think that has, like you said, an honestness to it, which
that's the best thing I could hear.
To it.
If somebody can say my songs are honest,
yeah, definitely.
I don't really care if they like them or not. If they're honest, that is the best thing I could hear.
Yeah. Well, I really liked it.
Thank you.
It was great. So going from recording that record over the 14-year period, and then you had your big live record release.
Yeah, right.
And then now you have another show coming up. Your first show after that record release, right?
That's right.
I
try to do shows a year apart. Oh gosh.
Well, if you can't give people too much,
Well, they don't get too much from me. I'll just tell you that right now.
But you we were talking earlier, and you said that you're more comfortable kind of in the studio, and that
that's right.
To yourself and stuff.
That's right, because I like presenting now. I'm saying this as a person who's not really used to live shows.
Yeah.
And I probably will morph over time if I play some more shows, but.
Of course, yeah.
I love being able to present a completed portrait to people and just having them look at it and say, here's what I see in that, or here's what I do in that.
I like that a lot too.
And the studio is the place where those portraits get painted. That's how I view it.
Of course, yeah.
And you can realize your full vision, there, and you don't have to worry about technical glitches and all that, or at least you have time to fix them. In a live show, you may not.
See, it's funny because yesterday Jeremy and I were in the studio together, and we're talking about this, and he was saying that he prefers live
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of about the energy for me.
Well, see, I need to hear
yeah.
this because that's inspiring. Actually.
And I don't know how to explain it because for me, it's just, about what you present to people in the moment. And, man, I don't really know what it is about. I guess studio time is a little bit more time consuming. And then whenever I'm live, it's more like I'm just going to do it, show you what I have. Kind of like a...
And see, that's if I need to hear that because I want to experience more of that in the live setting and not be so afraid of how I'm going to perform, but just how can we all have a good time together.
Right.
And
right.
that's kind of what I see. Like your live show the other night, you were inviting all of us into that, and that's how I want to be. When I grow up, I want to be like that. No, but that's what I mean by inspiring, Jeremy. I mean that's how I want to be. I will say this. The studio, there are really a lot of just maddening poke your eyes out moments when you're sitting around, while the engineer's working on fixing a problem, or somebody drops by and they talk forever or whatever. And there's just a lot of that. But I guess what I like about the studio is having completed something that's really good and going and sitting in the control room and listening to the playback.
Yeah.
There is nothing like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think, oh my word, this is what we all did, together.
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
And also I love the happy accidents that happen in the studio. For instance, in recording Heartbreak Road, at one point we were going to put a cornet or a trumpet, on a particular song, and I did a guide vocal for what that cornet part was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And then we decided that we were just going to engineer that guide vocal a little bit to mimic the sound of a cornet.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
And so my producer, he coined the term flugel scat, because it was kind of like a flugelhorn, I guess.
That's awesome.
And it was yet it was a scat, singing part. And so on 2 songs we ended up using that, just like
that's awesome.
That doesn't sound right now, but in the studio it sounded great, and it was. And I've had a couple of people say, okay, I was reading the liner notes. What is a flugel scat? So,
that's awesome.
there you go, folks. That's the flugel scat. But that was just an accident. It was just kind of stumble on that thing, and we just loved that, And I love discovering things like that in the studio.
Yeah, there was a time where I was recording a band, and we wanted a particular snare sound. And this was before I had a bunch of snares and stuff, and I thought we were going to have to either use a sample or do like a bunch of crazy editing or something, and
you were looking for a particular sound of the snare?
Yeah, a snare sound, like a hit.
Sound.
We tried different sticks and we couldn't get it. And we had it was like a pack of Twizzlers in the studio, just like eating or whatever, and just like smacked the snare with it. It sounded awesome. So
Are you serious?
Yeah. So there's a song out there with Twizzler drumsticks.
That's exactly what I love.
Yeah, just experimenting.
That is just There's something about that to me that's thrilling.
Yeah, for sure. That's really why I love what I do so much. Is
oh man,
the experimenting and just getting
absolutely.
like cool sounds,
Yes, absolutely right.
So how is? Because we did here. Well, by the way, this podcast, why it's different is because we're actually in Brian's office right now. This is
here
Brian's office at FPC.
Welcome, everyone.
You have the coolest office.
Oh yeah, 100%. Look, Jeremy's awesome, but his office sucks, man. I mean, he's got 5 screens in there, but that's nothing compared to your, Time Warp office.
Time Warp office.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
No, but how do you feel about this? Is kind of in between studio and live. Like, how's that work for you?
Really good. I didn't know it till today, but
is this your first time doing anything like this?
This is my first time ever doing anything like this.
Cool.
And I love it because it's intimate, and it's a little experimental in that you get to play your songs. One of these I was playing really for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, other than rehearsal, I'm rehearsing them with my band, but this was the first time in a performance setting, and it was kind of experimental to see how it might go over,
Yeah.
in something like this. And I love it. And again, it's more live performance, and it's helping me.
And you're saying before we started the podcast in between the set that this was kind of helping you to prepare a little bit for doing more live shows.
That's right, because I haven't had much experience at all, and it's been, as I say, more about am I going to do it well than how can we all do this good together,
Yeah.
And that's what I want it to be.
Awesome. Well, glad to help.
Thank you.
What would you say is the difference between because you were talking about how you get nervous playing live?
Oh yeah.
What's the difference between something like that, like this, and then preaching? And then you said years ago you were a music minister.
That's right.
So how does that differ?
Well, as I say, I've sung all of my life. My parents, we would have our family group. My dad played the guitar, my mother played the piano, and we would just sing. We'd have family nights where we just gather around and sing. Seriously,
That's awesome.
these old songs. My dad loved Ernest Tubb and all those old singers, big time, and he would play all those old songs. And so I grew up singing, and so when I say music minister, I was basically the guy that helped this little church to sing hymns. I stood up in the front and said, turn to hymn number 187, and we're going to sing this together, and let's sing it out strong.
Discount
and all
Aaron.
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, discount Aaron. That's awesome.
Aaron Hufty is the music minister at
Bargain,
FPC, in case you don't
bargain basement Aaron. And so, anyway, that I loved doing that because I loved. That's the kind of live performance that didn't scare me at all. At all.
Was it because everyone was singing with you and
Yes.
it was a group thing?
I think that's exactly right. I didn't have to worry about hitting wrong notes on a piano either.
Yeah.
And that was, and they weren't my songs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so,
Were you mic'd up when you did that, or is all kind
it was
of
like a pulpit mic.
Oh, okay,
there, and then preaching. I mean, that's I love study, and I love trying to find new angles on presenting an idea to somebody. I love ideas and presenting that, and helping people to understand God in a new way, maybe that they haven't thought of before. And I love how the Bible helps me understand God in new ways, and so I like sharing that with people. And I prepare all. I preach from a manuscript, and so I write that out completely. And that's one of my strengths is writing, and so I write all that out, and that's that. So I know what I'm going to say, and I know how I'm going to say it, and I think everything through, and so I just present it. And I loved being in plays and acting and drama, theater arts and all that.
Yeah.
So that was never a problem with me, and even singing in public was never a problem. Although I do remember singing. I sang for a couple of. This sounds so old and outdated, but I sang for a couple of like junior Miss pageants. That's just I don't even know if you know what those are.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Anyway, in my hometown of New Braunfels, when I was in college, I would do that, and I would always get really nervous doing that kind of thing because nobody was singing with me. So I guess there is something there. Nobody's singing with me, and I'm just all out there alone. And then you add to that, doing your own music and playing a piano and whatever. So that makes me a lot more nervous. But this is a growth area for me. And like today's podcast, I was much less nervous about that just because I've had a little live show experience. I've been rehearsing with a band. Now I'm doing this with friendly people that aren't going to, beat me up if I miss a note. And so I'm better. The studio, you can afford a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
In a live performance, you have to. I mean, the audience is a little forgiving, but you got to be coherent. I mean, you can't just go, let me start over for the fourth time, and you can't be all apologetic and all that. You got to do something well, and this is helping me. But it's something that I'm looking forward to more.
Awesome, yeah. My when I was in high school, I did jazz band through high school, and then something that always stuck with me that my music or the jazz band teacher always would say was, like, we're doing live music here. You're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. Like, no matter what, you're going to make mistakes. Playing live is not about not making mistakes. It's about playing through the mistakes and making the audience not notice them, not know that you made a mistake.
That helps me more than you know.
Really? Shout out to Mr. Raskowski from John F. Kennedy High School in St. Louis, Missouri.
Excellent.
And people don't know the songs,
Yeah,
They don't know
true.
they don't know, like,
they go,
oh, you played.
maybe that sucky sounding note is supposed to be there.
It's a creative choice.
I would have written it differently, but hey, that's
But I'm
his
not
song.
Bryan.
Yeah, I'm not Bryan. That's his song.
Yeah.
Not coming back to any more shows by him, but that's no. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they don't know the songs, and I never thought of it. I'd never thought of either of those things in that way before. Actually, that playing through. It's not about playing it perfect, but playing through it, and also
making
that they don't even know the song. So
making your mistakes not seem like mistakes, or you can take a quote from Bob Ross and they're happy accidents. You know?
Happy accidents. Yeah. Oh, that's Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
So there's no mistakes, It's
Wow.
whatever.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I guess that is part of live. It's breathing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
you gotta get going here pretty soon. It's
I do.
It's 6:20.
I do.
You want to give yourself some shout outs to your record that's out already? And
Yes, I do. I would say this. This record, Heartbreak Road, is. I mean, it's almost a brand new record, even though it's been out a year, because it hasn't had a whole lot of publicity. Very little live, very few live shows. And so I would say check that record out. It's available on any streaming service, Apple Music, Spotify, anything like that. It's also available for downloaded iTunes and other, all those
on the Play Store,
all those things.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazon, because everyone uses that.
Amazon, Google, whatever.
MySpace.
MySpace. I'm really building out. Really thinking MySpace is the coming thing. But also it's available in hard copy from cdbaby.com. And I know that CDs are kind of.
Best Buy just quit selling CDs.
Did they really?
Yeah. It's sad.
Wow.
But there's something to be said about having a physical copy to hold.
I love a hard copy product.
Definitely.
I really do, because it's like a calling card, or it's like an artifact of somebody was here.
And this one is done well too. It's not just
it's
a CD
not a
or just a
cheapy
slip.
deal.
It's like a full blown
It is.
Good
it's like a major label
album,
CD. That's how the product is. And so it's cdbaby.com, Heartbreak Road, and also check out my website, Bryan, that's Bryan, bryansongs.com, bryansongs.com. The Heartbreak Road album on the cover, it looks like a country music album, but it's really not. It's there are a couple of country-esque songs on there, maybe, and I love country music, but that's just not the kind of writer I am normally. But there are nods to Americana and country on there. There's jazz-influenced pop tunes. There's even
some variety
some funk
record.
influences. Yeah, the new record, whenever it comes out, I'm writing in a different direction, because I've become more interested in jazz, and so and I got this Rhodes here, which is a
sounds
sweet
so good.
instrument. And
if we had more time, I would have wanted to talk about that.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't.
And so I want to kind of press in those new areas a little bit. So but Heartbreak Road I think it's a great record, well engineered, well produced, and the musicians are sterling on there. They make me sound good, and so
Not to mention top rate songs.
well, thank
They
you.
sound great.
If the songwriting is good, that's
I really do think so. I'm not just saying that.
well. I thank you. I really, really, really appreciate that. And so anyway, that's Heartbreak Road.
yeah. Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
I know you gotta go, but I have two questions about the old album.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever you started a long time ago on it and then you came back into it, did you hear any differences in your voice at all because of that?
You know, that question is huge because there is surprisingly little variation in my voice. It shocks me actually because some of those, the oldest recordings on that CD on that album are probably from there's one song on there that I laid down the vocals in 2004.
Okay.
Wow.
And
And the newest ones were 2017.
the newest vocals are 2017.
Wow.
And I can't tell a difference. Now,
It's your voice.
if you you know, of course I'm probably the worst judge of that, but if you know, maybe we'll just have a little challenge here. You try to tell me which songs were recorded when.
Yeah.
They're all copyrighted 2017, so you can't look on that, but it's that really that kind of bothered me for a while because I thought, gosh, what if I sound, like a little kid, and then I sound like an old man or whatever. But that's just, it hasn't been the way that it's gone.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe it's the engineering. I don't know. But it's and we don't use any auto tune on there. So
Oh, amen.
Yeah.
thank the Lord.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just that's a great question about the difference in.
And then what inspired the name Heartbreak Road?
Oh, that's actually there's a title track on there, Heartbreak Road. But that song came out. Several of these songs came out of very painful times, melancholy times. It's the best thing for writing songs ever.
Oh yeah.
As you know, but that was a time. Some of these came out of really tough church experiences, actually, because y'all churches, the church is the hope of the world. I believe that, but churches are made up of people, imperfect people, and sometimes they can be kind of mean.
Yeah.
And sometimes pastors like me can be really incompetent, and so that came out of, some of those songs came out of just painful times in my own vocation and working with churches and so forth. Heartbreak Road specifically was a time in my life when I felt really lonely, and it forced me, the point of the song really is just feeling really lonely, walking down this lonely road as a metaphor. But
That's a Green Day song.
yeah, that's
I was
true.
thinking
You're
that
right.
too.
You're right. And then realizing, and the song asks the question, or the song says, it doesn't look like there's anybody coming along to rescue me right now, or to rescue us, just speaking to all the kind of lonely people. And then it says we might have to start thinking about rethinking our future. And what I meant by that was we might have to start. I was faced with the prospect of maybe I've got this wrong, and I've got to rethink where I'm going here. And then I say, isn't that the point though? Because I believe that God can use anything and does, especially difficult times, to reshape our thinking in a better direction. And so that's why we might have to start thinking about rethinking our future, but isn't that the point? So that's so Heartbreak Road
awesome.
can be good for your soul.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I know you have to go.
Well, thank you, and this is so exciting to be here and talk about this, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, and you have a show coming up.
Oh yes, August 2nd. Thank you.
Yeah.
August 2nd, I'm opening for my friend T.S. Pfeiffer. His name is Taylor Pfeiffer. Professionally, he goes by T.S. Pfeiffer at Sam's Burger Joint Music Hall. And
Here in San Antonio.
Here in San Antonio, Texas. It's August 2nd, Thursday, August 2nd, 6:30 7:30 doors, 7:30 show, I think.
Nice.
Nice,
And
we'll be there.
so
we already
it's,
bought our tickets.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
go to Sam's Burger Joint online and buy tickets and come on out and see us. Taylor's got well, you know this. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
I'm doing
engineering.
the
He's
record,
got
yeah.
this great record coming out that
Taylor's
I can't
on the
wait
show
to
next
hear.
week, actually.
Is he really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I love him. He is great, and
You're his boss, right?
well, yeah, but I don't feel like that most of the time. I just feel like he's my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I don't know what he would say about that. But anyway, but he's a great artist, and so I get to open for him, and I'm just so honored.
Yeah. And you can see Bryan on TV every Sunday, almost. On, what is it?
It's KSAT Channel 12
yeah,
in
local.
San Antonio,
And then
11 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Where's the stream go for people not in Texas?
The
or in San
stream
Antonio?
is worldwide. It's you just go to fbcsa.org and you can just click on media.
Yeah. And even if you're not, I guess wouldn't say you're religious or something, it's still something to definitely check out. It's if you like
Absolutely.
music, the music is good.
The music is excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean it's old school.
Yeah, yeah,
but
for
it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing choral orchestra, all that. And so it's great. And but yeah, I think anybody's welcome to stop by and check that out. And wherever whatever your spiritual journey is, I think that would be great. And we've got something good to say.
All right, thanks so much, and we'll see you later. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.